Is it working now? Alright, there's even technical problems finally with this thing. Okay. Okay, looks like we're working now. Okay. Sorry about that. Those problems with the computer finally rearing their ugly head. Sorry, not much I can do about that. Again, if the stream craps out, just give me a minute, alright? So, now where the fuck was I before I lost my train of thought? My thoughts on Laurel possibly being Black Canary, like in the comics. Not a fan. Yeah, I've been over this on Twitter, but basically, if there is one thing I can't stand about this show, it is this fucking character. Oh my god. I don't even know where to start with this one. But yeah, I was making comparisons to Lana Lang on Smallville before we got interrupted, and I think that's a pretty apt comparison. Thankfully, they don't take the Mary Sue qualities to such an extreme as they did with on that show. But where to fucking start? I think the casting people really fucked up when it came to Laurel, because I don't know if it's the character or the actress playing her, but this woman is intolerable. It's yeah, I had this whole rant that I was going to go on, and then I lost my damn train of thought. But how do I say this? It's like this character, this Laurel character. It's hard to explain, but no, fuck, don't you even think about doing this to me again on that show. But thank you. There it goes. It's like this character is on a different wavelength from everyone else in the cast. It's like she thinks she's on a different show. It's hard to explain, but I keep going back to this scene in season 2. I think where Laurel comes into the Arrow Cave for the first time, and for the first time, you get a real comparison to the chemistry between Oliver and the rest of the characters, and the chemistry between Oliver and her, with Laurel. Because he's talking with them, and then she comes in, the rest of them leave, and then it's just Oliver and Laurel. It's like the air changes. You can just tell. I swear to God, there is not one molecule of chemistry between Oliver and Laurel, and between Laurel and the rest of the cast, for that matter. It just doesn't work. You put Oliver with Diggle, okay? It just works. They just fit. They mesh well. It just fits. You put Felicity in there. It just works. Okay? You put Sarah Lance in there. It just works. You add in other characters like Roy or or fucking Barry Allen even. It just works. But then you add Laurel in there, and it's like it just gets really uncomfortable. I'm not sure how to explain it, but this character is fucking intolerable. I can't stand her. It's like, and man, I was just kind of dreading watching the rest of these episodes when I was working my way through the first season, because it's like, oh god, she's the main romantic lead. This is awful. Because these scenes with her and Oliver, I just want to fast forward through all of them. They're just, I mean, it's I can't imagine got any kind of romantic storyline drawn out for any length of time between these two. It's just, I almost considered stopping, like not watching the rest of it just because of this, because I wanted to fast forward through all these scenes. This woman, I can't. Oh, she's awful. Thank God, it seems like the producers called an audible between seasons 1 and 2, and clearly some changes were made because because it looks like Felicity was promoted to slow burn love interest status, and then they just sent Laurel, off on her own separate thing. I mean, yeah, the stuff with her and Oliver was still sort of addressed, but they seem to have moved on from that somewhat. Thank God, because I guess they noticed that Oliver had about 10,000 times more chemistry with Felicity than he does with Laurel. So the show is much better for it, quite frankly. Although it doesn't look like Laurel's going away. And oh my god, the possibility of her becoming Black Canary just fills me with dread. I can't imagine a worse way to go. No, don't do that. It's just it's not going to work. I'm telling you, it's not going to work. No, you know what? Here's what you do, Arrow producers, okay? Kill Laurel. Kill her. Kill her. Bury her so she can never come back. Bring back Sarah. Put her in the regular cast. Just let her be Black Canary. I don't give a shit what happened in the comics, okay? I don't care. Okay, you can change things. It's TV. You can change some stuff. It's all right. I don't think Deathstroke was the one who trained Green Arrow in the comics. Correct me if I'm wrong about that. I'm not really familiar with the Green Arrow comics, but you can change some stuff. It's okay. You can call an audible in this case. The show will be better for it, I promise you. No. So don't make Laurel Black Canary. Just send her away. Just get her off this otherwise great show. Because she's not helping it. Oh god, this whole subplot with her becoming an alcoholic and getting a drug problem in season 2. Oh god, it's the worst thing about season 2 by far. Trumping even Moira Queen running for mayor just weeks after she was on trial for mass murder. Okay? It was worse than that. In retrospect, that wasn't too bad, but you had to take that with a big grain of salt. But it was better than the fucking shit with Laurel. God damn, I hate that character. Ugh. Sorry, I was babbling there for a little while. I had this whole rant planned out for that, but then lost my train of thought when those technical problems started. Hopefully the stream won't crap out again. Magpie2541. What are your thoughts on Deathstroke being Australian? I personally think they did not take advantage of that. Is Deathstroke not Australian in the comics? I don't know. FYI, I've never been much of a DC guy. I've always been a Marvel guy. I'm not too. I'm not really in the loop with what's going on in DC, and I'm not really big on that whole universe, except for like 1 or 2 characters. I mean, honestly, DC Comics continuity is so fucking confusing. I don't know which character is which anymore, or which event happened in which rebooted universe, and that was before the New 52. I mean, God help you try to figure that shit out now, without changing all this stuff. So I'm guessing Deathstroke is not Australian in the comics. I'm fine with it. If they wanted to change that, I mean, in the grand scheme of things, that's a pretty small detail. So that's all right. I mean, the actor Manu Bennett, he was fine. I guess I can take this opportunity to talk about Deathstroke. I don't know if anyone else noticed this or anyone had a problem with this, but I really liked Slade Wilson on the island in the flashbacks. But when he showed up in present day, did he seem like he was acting differently? I don't know. On the island, I thought he was really cool, but in present day Starling Cities, did it seem like he was hamming it up a little bit more? I don't know. Maybe I think it's like they changed his dialogue style. Maybe they were giving him, for lack of a better word, more comic booky lines. I don't know, but it just seemed like he was hamming it up a little bit more than usual. And I don't think he was acting badly. I don't think he's a bad actor, but I don't know. I always thought that those scenes on the island with him always came off a lot better to me, for some reason. I'm not sure why. If anyone can shine some light on this, tell me in the comments, because I'm not sure what was going on there. I just know that when he showed up in the present day, something was different about his performance, and I can't really put my finger on what exactly. Okay. J Gore 492, excuse me. How surprised were you at the quality of this show compared to Smallville? Very surprised. As I was saying before I was interrupted when the stream crapped out, bad experiences with Smallville was the main thing that kept me from checking this show out during the first 2 seasons. I had to kind of be convinced into giving it a chance, mainly because Smallville sucks so much, and I just didn't want to get wrapped into another CW superhero show. But yeah, I mean, I had all these preconceived notions about what the show was going to be. Like, it's on the CW, so it'll probably be dumbed down for a kiddie audience, and the soundtrack will consist of nothing but flavor of the month, teeny bopper pop songs. So the soundtrack will be dated in 6 months, and all this other stuff. But yeah, I was very surprised. Number one, at how dark it is. I mean, I can't believe they got away with some of this stuff on the CW. I mean, this is, and this is. I could easily see this show airing on a network like Fox or something, where they can get away with a lot more. Well, not adult, but content geared at an older audience than the CW aims at, because they normally target kids, and this show doesn't really target kids so much. One of the big things I noticed was when Oliver opened the nightclub in season 1, and I thought for sure, oh, they're just doing this so they can promote bands and stuff for the soundtrack. And I know a lot of shows that have done this. You're just doing it for. You're trying to get all these bands that are like the hot flavor of the month and just put them on there, and they're gonna have all these scenes that are just about the bands playing there and whatever. But no, not at all. They actually had a good reason for incorporating the club into the story. No, don't you fucking crap out on me again. God damn, why is this happening so much all of a sudden? There we go. Yeah, so the club actually felt organic to what they were doing in the story. I was like, holy shit, they took the high road. They're not just being cheap and conforming to what the network often wants shows like this to do. And it's like, wow, I big respect points. So I kept watching, and yeah, it's really, really good. Obviously, the writers have planned out this stuff well in advance, and they know what they're doing, and this show is so much better than Smallville, I can't believe it. Yeah, the hype is for real. When everyone telling me it's everything Smallville should have been, they weren't kidding. It's really good. JGore492. What did you think of Manu Bennett as Slade Wilson? Kind of already went over that earlier. Liked him on the island. Had a few issues with him when he came to Starling City. I'm still not sure what that was exactly, but it was cool as Deathstroke. Very cool. I thought the costume was great. Yeah, I'm sure we'll talk about this a little more as we go on here. I do. Yeah. Okay. Okay. Next. R. Lugo Awesome. FYI, I'm probably going to butcher a lot of these names. Do you think that Green Arrow will get established in the DC cinematic universe since he is a DC character? I'm sure it'll happen eventually. By that, do you mean will there be a movie with this group of actors and this story? My guess would be no. I think if they do establish Green Arrow in the cinematic universe, it's probably going to be with like a whole new crew. Different writers, different actors, and it won't follow this continuity. I think this is going to be kind of self-contained. Just because it's different. It's going to be different production people, and they're different writers and directors, and they're going to have different ideas about what they want to do with it. Also, I'm pretty sure the filming schedules would clash. If Stephen Amell and co. are filming this show, they probably can't be doing a movie at the same time, and it's just it probably wouldn't work. But I'm sure we'll get a Green Arrow movie eventually. Yeah. Okay, this one is from my AskFM account, so no name on this one, but here's one for your Arrow Q&A. After Oliver sleeps with Isabel Rochev in Season 2, he tells Felicity that he thinks it's better to not be with someone he could really care about because of the life he leads. But then, not long after that, he gets together with Sarah. Isn't Oliver kind of a hypocrite? Good question. Yes and no. I think it's hard to explain. I think there's a part of Oliver that is masochistic isn't the right word. Maybe a little nihilistic. I think in that sense, when he tells Felicity that he thinks it's better to not be with someone that he could really care about, it's kind of like I think there's a part of Oliver that blames himself for pretty much everything that's gone wrong in his life and like in and around his life, and he's just intent on punishing himself for that. And when he tells Felicity this, I think he means it, and I think he kind of seeks out relationships that he knows in the back of his mind are going to end badly, even if he's not really conscious of this, or not really aware of it or acknowledging it or whatever. So when he when he got together with Sarah, I think he knew. I think there was a voice back here that was telling him, this isn't going to last. This is not a long-term relationship. This is going to end, and you know it. And maybe he kind of ignored that. Maybe he thought it was something he needed at the time, but I think he knew there was no future in that relationship. And same thing with Helena when he started dating her briefly. Maybe he thinks it's a way to protect himself. Maybe it's kind of a Peter Parker thing where he thinks, oh, I can't be with her because it would put her in danger or something like that. But I think when he says that he can't be with someone, he shouldn't be with someone that he really cares about, because I think he means it. And all these other relationships are just him maybe just missing casual sex or something. I don't know, but that's my theory. I think he kind of seeks out relationships, or maybe doesn't seek them out, but he kind of focuses on ones that deep down he knows won't last, because maybe he doesn't think he deserves to be in one. So I think it's kind of telling that he hasn't really pursued Felicity yet, because over the course of this show, I think Felicity is easily, by a huge margin, the healthiest relationship with a woman that he's had, be it romantic, platonic, or otherwise. So you would think that if he's supposed to be with one woman, it would be Felicity. I think the fact that he hasn't really pursued that yet says a lot. I think the fact that he hasn't really tried to be with her is very telling. Him being with these other women probably gets under her skin, because there's something going on there between those two. But it's probably something that he has to go through now until he gets this nihilism, this nihilistic streak out of his system. To do that, he's probably going to have to go through some stuff and get into a healthier place mentally. So I don't know. I don't think it makes him a hypocrite. I think this is just Oliver kind of punishing himself. And deep down, he just knows these relationships that he gets into are not going to go anywhere. Laurel included, because there's way too much baggage in that for that to last. So I really hope they're done pursuing that one. Because, good God, it's no more of this Laurel and Oliver shit, please. Good question. Let's see. Joe CR. Do you think the show, the Arrow character, will tie into the eventual Justice League movie? I already kind of answered that one. If they do put Green Arrow in the Justice League movie, I think it'll probably be a different actor. I think it won't tie into the show. I think they're going to keep those separate. For my more elaborate answer, just rewind when this uploads and watch the previous answer. Joe CR. Which show do you prefer, Arrow or Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.? Well, we could do a whole separate video about that topic. There's a lot of different factors to that one. It was actually a closer comparison than I thought it would be, because I did consider this an awful lot, and I will freely admit there are a number of things that Arrow does better. Fight choreography, for one. Cinematography is probably better. Personally, I still prefer Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., just for personal preference. And again, Marvel guy. So I guess I'm gonna have a certain bias towards that one. Yeah, I think Agents of Shield, I like the characters better for the most part. They just made more of an impression on me, and I think you get a little more variety in Shield. Whereas with Arrow, as good as it is, I think back on the previous 2 seasons, which I've just been watching, I have trouble remembering individual episodes. There's a few that stick out, but I don't know. In Shield, it's easy. There's a lot of variation there. There's the Chitauri virus episode, and there's the episode where they're on the train, and then there's the one with the blue alien in the the glass jar, and there's the one when Hydra took over Shield and all that other stuff. And Arrow, it's like, well, I don't know. I have trouble remembering the separate episodes for some reason. Yeah, this is in no way a criticism of Arrow, which, again, I really, really like, okay? If you put a gun to my head and told me to choose, I'd go with Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. I'm sorry. Did I get to this one? Yes. Yeah. Okay. That up there. All right. Had a lot of Twitter questions here. This was cool. All right. Strife 19. Who do you think Thea will become, Artemis or Cheshire? If she's going to become one or the other. If we're assuming Thea will at some point put on a mask and a costume and turn to the bad guy's side, which I guess she's kind of already doing. My guess would be Artemis, because I don't think Artemis is a character in the comics. No, actually, I think she was in the culling, wasn't she? And then she got killed. My knowledge of that is based entirely on what I saw in Linkara's review of the culling. But as far as I know, other than that, Artemis has not appeared in the comics. I think she was a new character for created for the Young Justice cartoon. I think she was. So Cheshire, as far as I know, is the one with the established backstory in the comics. So I guess if they were to make Thea one of these characters, I guess they'd choose the one that has the blank slate that they could kind of make up as they go. That would be my guess. I think that would be a better way to go about this, other than creating basically an entirely new Cheshire character. Yeah. Strife 19 again. Which show did a better job of establishing their characters and setting up for the second season, Arrow or Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.? Better job of establishing their characters. Again, I'm going to go with Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. just because by the end of the first season, I had much more of an investment in the entire cast. I was wondering, okay, well, what's going to happen now that Coulson, now that the side effects of the blue alien juice are starting to take effect, and he's starting to write that alien language on the wall there. What's going on with him? And what's the deal with Skye? Is she an alien? Is she an Inhuman? What's going to happen with her dad? Where's Fitz? What's going to happen with him? Is he going to recover? Can he recover? And what about Simmons? Where's her head at with the whole Fitz situation, and so on and so forth? I was wondering what was going to happen with every character, and I was genuinely interested in what's going to happen with every character next season. Whereas with Arrow after season 1, I was curious what would happen with Oliver, but not much else. Yeah. Um, I think Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. did a better job at setting up cliffhangers for like the whole cast and establishing new pathways for them next season. Whereas with Arrow, it was kind of like, okay, well the glades are destroyed, and so now next season I guess we'll just continue on after that, and so with Shield it was like, okay, they set up so much stuff that they can explore in season 2, and it's like, well, and with Arrow it's like, okay, well I guess we'll just continue what we were doing before. And again, that's not a criticism, because I thought the Arrow season 1 finale was really good. I just that with Shield, I was more looking forward to what they would do next. I think, and I had more questions, and I was anticipating it more with the characters and whatnot. Yeah, good questions. Thank you. Okay, and here we go. Strife 19. Are you going to watch The Flash when it debuts? Yeah, I'll give it a shot. I watched the trailer. One thing that was... I did kind of get some Smallville vibes from the trailer. I was definitely missing the darker tone that Arrow has, because I think that tone helps Arrow immensely. Kind of avoid that the CW / Smallville mold, and the further away they can stay from that, the better. Arrow looks like it's going to be a lighter show, and I'm a little weary of that. I don't know if it's a good idea. I would prefer they stick with the darker tone. I'll give it a shot, though. Although I do have some reservations, like those two science guys. Is it just me, or do a lot of these characters look really young? Apparently, Barry is like some CSI forensics dude, and he looks like he's fresh out of high school. There's that one kid that, what's his name, Cisco, who looks like he's 13. And they're like scientists at Star Labs or something. But why do these people look so young? And then there's the stuff with the... I think it's Iris West, who is black now for some reason. I'm not sure why. I made it like the actress or something. I don't know. Yeah, that's fine. And it says, well, your heart kept beating. Your heart kept stopping. And it's like, no, it's still beating. See? Wow, it's beating really fast. I must be the love interest. It's really on the nose and stuff. And I know it's just a trailer, but I don't know. It seemed a little cheesy to me, but I'll check it out. I'll check it out. I'll give it a chance. Arrow has kind of restored my faith in these shows, so I'll give it a chance. I burn 05. What did you think about the finale? Like, you're a big fan of your show since the Immortal Faction. Anyway, the question for Arrow: what did you think of the finale? Season 1 I thought was really good. Finale. Season 2, I thought really benefited from the stronger narrative push throughout Season 2. I think one of the problems I had with Season 1, more of a gripe than a problem, really, but one of the things that bugged me a little bit about Season 1 was that while the show and the episodes, they were good, I found myself wishing the narrative would accelerate faster. and I just wanted it to go somewhere because it felt like, there was stuff happening, but it was all kind of in the background and kind of mysterious, and I wasn't really sure what it was building up to until the last couple episodes. And I just wanted the story to let me know where it was going and just kind of push forward with that faster. I think that affected the finale a little bit. They corrected this in the second season because we got the story was was a lot tighter. And you could tell they were building up to this big climax with the Mirakuru army and all that stuff, and and this big showdown with Slade Wilson. And I thought the second season finale I thought was much better. And that was actually I thought that was one of the better episodes of television I saw for that season. Because that was really fucking good. Yeah, not something I expected to say about a CW show. But, yeah. Really damn good finale. I was very impressed with how they were able to draw parallels to what happened on the island. When I think it was Ivo who tried to make Oliver choose between saving Sarah and Shadow, and doing that again with Slade trying to capturing both Laurel and Felicity, and drawing parallels between that. I thought that was really well done, and again, intercutting between his fight with Slade on the ship in the past and his fight with Slade in the present. Again, really cool. I thought the storytelling there was really top-notch. The way they had that all planned out. That was very well executed, I thought. Really dynamite finale, definitely. And iBurn05 again. Do you ever think we're going to see Slade Wilson again in Season 3? Maybe not in Season 3. I think that might be a little soon for it. But I think we'll absolutely see Slade Wilson again. Maybe not soon. But it looks like next season is going to focus on Amanda Waller and Argus and all that stuff. Because they've been building up to that for a while. And if they're housing Slade in this Argus prison facility on the island, presumably they're going to be taking more criminals that they capture and sending them to this place, so obviously at some point there's going to be a breakout. Maybe that's where they'll go for the series finale where all the Argus prisoners escape and they descend on the city and there's this massive battle to finish things off. But, I'm sure we'll see Slade Wilson again. I don't think it'll be immediately. If I were them, I'd wait a while. Just make people miss him for a while. Just focus on this Argus and Amanda Waller stuff for a little while. Just let that play out. But yeah, I'd be stunned if we don't see Slade Wilson again. Okay. That was all the questions from Twitter. All right. Okay. Okay, we're going into the comments section now. If you got any comments, write them down. All right. Ermac2988. Laurel isn't even Black Canary in the New 52. Good. Thank you. I don't know what they've done with Black Canary in the New 52. Again, I'm not too familiar with the DC Comics, but has Black Canary even shown up yet? I don't remember hearing anything about her. But if she's not Black Canary in New 52, thank God. Because maybe they won't feel the need to make Laurel Black Canary in the comics and in the show, because god damn, that would be intolerable. Don't even get me started on Laurel again, because I hate that woman so much. This TV version of her is just get her away. All right, Jacob Walton. Your thoughts on Amanda Waller and the Suicide Squad thus far? Waller is cool. I kind of it kind of weirds me out, this notion of making Amanda Waller hot. This New 52 notion of making her, I guess, younger and hotter. It just seems like yeah, women of other shapes and sizes could use some representation in the comics and the show. So I guess you can see why they do it on the show, because you want appealing actors in these parts. All right, whatever, but. I think when they change the characters like that, it's like, okay, well, why are you all you're really going to do is just alienate the fan base the character has. Why not just keep them relatively the same? They just reduce the character back to the core elements and just develop that. Why are you changing stuff that doesn't need to be changed? I don't understand that. But yeah, the actress is fine. I think it's really interesting that she's kind of tied into what Oliver was doing on the island. I guess she was the one behind fires and with the rocket launcher taking out the planes and stuff. That was her behind that. Correct me if I'm wrong about that. And now apparently she had some hand in what Oliver was doing during those missing 5 years. That's really interesting. And I continue to be impressed with how much they had this story apparently mapped out ahead of time. Because, you know, they're telling a continuous story with these flashbacks. And I go back to the pilot. One of the first things we see in the pilot is the Deathstroke mask with the arrow through the eye, and I was like, wow, they had that planned the whole time. I mean, we didn't even know how that really happened until the second season finale. It's like, holy shit, they had this so much. They had that whole thing mapped out. I think they probably have that entire 5 years that he was away already planned out. It's like, that's the mark of a well-told story right there. That's really impressive. That they were able to tie that in so much. So I'm really looking forward to how Amanda Waller factors into all that, because it looks like she really had a hand in making Oliver what he is today. A lot more than we originally thought. The Suicide Squad thus far, I think it's mostly the Deadshot Squad, because he's really the only character they focus on, and when the Suicide Squad shows up. I was disappointed that Shrapnel got killed off. I thought he was cool, and it was pretty cool to see Simon Tam in there. Whatever's the hell's the actor's name? I don't know. It's cool to see Simon from Firefly in there. That was cool. I was hoping they'd do more with him. I don't know if Shrapnel's a character from the comics, or Bronze Tiger. I guess he's in there somewhere. But yeah, it's like they focus mainly on Deadshot, which is cool because I like Deadshot. One of my favorite recurring characters I've got in there, and he's the one with the backstory now. So I would like to focus on like other team members and like kind of develop that more. But the Suicide Squad is a cool concept. Um, I'm really hoping they'll flesh that out in future episodes. But I like it a lot so far. Gore492, what do you think about the possibility of us seeing Connor Hawke in the future? I don't know who that is. I'm sorry. Again, really not familiar with the DC Comics. Okay. If you want to explain who Connor Hawke is, I'll try to come up with something more. Jacob Walton, can you see Arrow crossing over with the Flash TV show or even the Gotham TV show? Gotham TV show, I don't think so. No, I don't see any possibility of that. Is that even the same production company? No, I think with Arrow, I think Flash and Arrow are going to be kind of self-contained for the time being. I don't think they'll be crossing over with any other shows. So I think they've got kind of like a TV universe that's just encapsulating these two shows. But I absolutely think they'll cross over with each other. Arrow and Flash. As I understand it, Oliver shows up in the Flash pilot because they showed him. They showed those two talking in the trailer for it. I would expect we get like 1 or 2 crossovers per season at least. I mean, logistically, that's going to be tough to pull off, but I think they could do it for like big important episodes. I remember the flashback towards the end of the season, towards the end of season 2, about Moira paying off that girl that Oliver got knocked up. You know, paying her a couple $1 million to tell Oliver that she lost the baby. Didn't she move to Central City? I think that's what they said. So for all we know, she's still there. So I would expect if there's a crossover. So when they do crossovers, because I'm sure they will at some point, that'll probably come into play because you gotta have more of a reason for Oliver to show up, and that's the reason for him to return to Central City periodically. So I'm sure that'll factor into it somehow. But yeah, I would expect a number of crossovers with the Flash. Just a matter of finding out, the right place and the right time to do it. The Save Me One. I think Slade in the Teen Titans cartoon was the best Slade. In Arrow, Smallville, and Young Justice, it is not the same. Well, well, I'm kind of biased because I didn't like the Teen Titans cartoon. I just didn't like how they kidified it so much. Although Slade was pretty cool on there. Of course, they got Ron Perlman voicing him, and Ron Perlman is awesome. But he wasn't really a big character in the Young Justice show. Although the Young Justice show was awesome. Well, but it's a matter of opinion. I think Slade was probably the best thing about the Teen Titans cartoon, which, again, I did not like, but he was good in it. Did Slade Wilson show up at Smallville? I don't remember that. Lucky STR8. Do you see Roy Harper eventually putting on the Red Arrow suit in Season 3? I think that's the direction they're headed in. He got his own domino mask in the finale for Season 2, so he's on that path. Will he get his own suit in Season 3? I don't know. I think it might be a little early for that. I could see it happening toward the end of the season, maybe. But he's got a lot of training to do first. I mean, Oliver spent 5 years becoming what he is, and yeah, Roy's a good fighter, but he's probably got a ways to go still. But yeah, I'm sure he'll become, Red Arrow and or Arsenal at some point. It shouldn't happen too soon. But yeah, eventually, I'm sure that'll happen. Lucky STR8. The show is based on the Longbow Hunters miniseries. Are you a fan of how the show throws in Christopher Nolan lore? Because I don't. Longbow Hunters miniseries, I don't know what that is. I'm sorry. I think there are some Christopher Nolan influences in there. Definitely in how they take, I think, the more like realistic approach. And they definitely go darker, like Nolan liked too. I am a fan of that, actually. There's a lot of instances of this, but I do appreciate how they tried to de-emphasize some of the sillier aspects of the comics and try to keep it grounded in realism. And don't shy away from some of the more brutal aspects too. Like when Tommy died, they showed him being like impaled on that whatever it was, and it's like, wow, that is way more graphic than I expected they'd ever get on a CW show. And also, Oliver, his superheroing, vigilanteing, whatever you want to call it, definitely takes a physical toll. I mean, I like how they got him all scarred up and everything, and when he actually he gets hurt and he takes a couple bullets and stuff, and they actually show the wounds and stuff. I was like, this is, I can buy this so much more than I ever could on Smallville. Like, there was this one time in Smallville where he had his powers. He had stabbed with that blue kryptonite dagger and lost his powers, and he got pushed off a building and died. And then Lois just pulled out the blue kryptonite, and he healed instantly, and he was perfectly fine. I was like, oh, fuck you. No consequences at all. But Oliver gets hurt. He gets hurt. And he's in pain, and if you prick him, he bleeds, and he's just a mortal man. And I like that they show like the consequences of that stuff. Now, granted, he recovers from this stuff remarkably quickly, because he gets shot and stabbed and poisoned and stuff, and then next week he's fine. And of course, all the characters do that. Felicity gets shot, and then gets shot in like the shoulder, and then next week she's not even wearing her arm in a sling or anything like that. I'm like, come on. But of course, it's TV. But they do take the Christopher Nolan approach where these characters are not invincible, and I do like that. Okay. Look. See what else we've got here. Okay, well, that's all the Twitter questions, and I don't have any more comments right now. Probably lost some people, and the stream crapped out, unfortunately. Okay, well, I'll give it a little more time here. Is there any other stuff I can elaborate on? Hmm. What did you guys think of the Flash trailer? What do you think about this Laurel situation? Am I just imagining this? Because I talked to a bunch of people on Twitter, Truth Slayer among other people. I was very relieved to see that I wasn't the only one who really just thought Laurel was just fucking intolerable. I swear, I don't know what it is about this woman. She just does not fit. I swear, just nothing about her works. Now, going back to something I said previously about the season finales. This is a concern something I've been thinking about, where I think they might have been trying to do too much too soon with these finales, because I do appreciate that they're not shy about killing off characters for dramatic effect, and I think it's worked very well for them. But it's almost like they've put like there's a danger of, well, now how the hell do they top themselves? Because season 1 finale, Tommy dies, and it worked great, and in the build-up to the season 2 finale, Moira died, and okay, well, awesome. That worked great too. And it made sense in both cases for those characters to die, but now it's like, in order to keep packing that emotional wallop, it's like, well, they've kind of locked themselves into a pattern here where they almost have to kill someone every season now, or else it's just going to feel kind of underwhelming. It's like, well, who the hell else can they kill? Someone important to Oliver that would really affect the main characters. I keep coming back to Thea. It's like, well, she's the only family Oliver has left. If you want to really just give him that emotional gut punch, I keep thinking that, are they going to kill Thea next season? Because, I think it would make sense if they want to really elevate this story with Malcolm Merlyn, make that as personal as possible, have him be responsible for getting Thea killed. I think it would make sense. It would affect not only Oliver but Roy as well. So I definitely think Thea might have a good chance of getting off next season. Detective Lance also, although I don't know. Yeah, I think those two characters probably the most likely to get killed off next season. Although I shudder to think what would happen. God, with Laurel, if they killed Detective Lance, it's like, oh God, now they're gonna do all this shit with her now. God, Laurel is so intolerable when they do all this melodrama crap with her. I think if they killed her father, I'd be kind of dreading what that would lead to. It's like, oh God, are they gonna make her Black Canary now? Please don't. Please don't. But I do think it's likely. I mean, if they were going to kill someone next season, probably Detective Lance, those would be the two big ones I'd be expecting. If they wanted to kill Laurel, that would make me so happy. Okay. Well, oh, here we go. No, Josh Hunter, who do you see dying in the 3rd season? I just answered that. Well, hadn't even seen that question yet. Well, in case you're... Yeah, okay. Thea and Detective Lance, those would be my guess. Those would be my guesses. I think they're the most likely to die. I mean, someone important to Oliver who would have affect him and push the story forward. Yeah, it would make sense for either of them. I think Detective Lance is probably a little more likely, because it seems like they want to keep Laurel around, so that would just push her into black. No, let's just not even go there. Hey, NJ. NJ Brady, are you enjoying Game of Thrones? The sister is still boring. I talk to NJ about Game of Thrones all the time. He hates Sansa. We're talking about Arrow. I like Robin Hood, the Arrow Man. Yeah. All right. Well, all right. Well, NJ, if you're looking to get into a new series, check out Arrow. I had to be kind of convinced into checking it out, but I've really been enjoying it. Okay. Lucky STR8. Even though Bane is a Batman villain, do you see him as part of the Suicide Squad? No, not Bane. I don't think him being a Batman villain would prevent him from showing up there. I mean, I don't see rogues galleries as being really exclusive to a character. I mean, they did have a Harley Quinn cameo in there, so I guess it's not out of the question. I don't think Bane would really work in the Suicide Squad, though. Yeah, I always saw him as more of like a solo villain, to me. And how would they contain him either? Anyway, he's supposed to be super strong. I mean, it's like a Mirakuru soldier, I guess. Nah, I don't think Bane would really work in that. Lucky STR8. Not really a spoiler, but in the comics, Green Arrow almost always dies and his son takes over. Do you see that in the show? The show ending like that? Does he? I'll take your word for it. I think it's way too soon to tell on that. We don't even know if Oliver, if Oliver's kid is a boy or a girl. I kind of like it to be a girl, just to do something different. I guess it's possible, but that would be like really far off in the future. I guess the kid would be like 5 or 6 now, so. I guess it's way too early to be asking that question. Maybe they could end the show with a flash forward or something. Possibly. Matt Stone, Connor Hawke would be the child that Oliver had with that woman who was bribed, so he would likely be 7 or 8 years old in season 3. Oh, okay. Again, not familiar with the DC comics here, so you're gonna have to explain these things to me, guys. Okay. Let's see. Oh, maybe that's where this is going then. Who knows? I guess I could see that happening, but again, it's really far off in the future. Unless they want to do like a Damian Wayne thing where he becomes a crime fighter at like 10 years old. I don't think that would work in TV. I mean, even in the comics, that's kind of a stretch, because I think wasn't Damian Wayne trained by like the League of Assassins or something since birth? I don't know. Okay. Lucky STR8. Did they make Green Arrow? They make Green Arrow and Deathstroke op in Injustice Gods Among Us because the show was coming up at the time of the game's release. I don't know. I haven't played it. I'm sorry. Noobishly bad. Kill Laurel? But damn it, kill Laurel. But damn it, stay away from Felicity. LOL. I can see them killing Thea. Yes. Yes. You and me. We're like this. Yes. Get rid of Laurel. Felicity must be safe. Save Felicity. Keep her around. She's delightful. She's my favorite character. Thea, I could see them putting Thea on the chopping block for dramatic effect. Yeah, keep Felicity safe. She's cool. Louis V6. Do you think we'll see Sarah next season, or has she accepted her fate as being part of the League of Assassins? You know, Sarah was such a big part of season 2. Much like Slade, I would be stunned if we didn't see her again at some point. I think I'm just waiting for the right time to reintroduce her. I don't know if she'll ever be like a permanent cast member, although it would be cool if she was, because I liked the actress. I thought she fit in well with everyone in a way that Laurel does not. I really wish they'd kept her around. I thought she added something really nice to the show. I was sad when she left, because she added more to the show being there. They could tell more stories with her than without her. Seemed like kind of a shame when they wrote her off. I was really hoping that she would stick around, but yeah, I see. I'm sure they'll bring her back at some point, because this League of Assassins thing is obviously not going away. And didn't Malcolm Merlyn have some kind of connection with the League of Assassins? Because seems like those black hooded outfits they wear, those seem pretty similar. Aren't they the people who trained him? I have to go back and rewatch, I guess. So yeah, they could tie that in with Malcolm Merlyn, I guess. And that would be a cool twist if he took Thea to the League of Assassins to get her like trained up, and they run into Sarah. That would be a really cool twist. It's like, Sarah, holy shit, what are you doing here? Would be a great way to bring Sarah back to the city and keep her around this time. I like Sarah a lot. Again, just kill Laurel and bring back Sarah. Put her in the cast full time. Damn it! I don't see what's so hard about this. Does anyone really like this Laurel actress? I don't. Okay. These comments out of order? Oh, I didn't put the newest first thing on there. Okay. Louis V6. What role do you think Malcolm Merlyn will play next season? Do you believe the relationship between Thea and Malcolm will improve, or will Thea never accept Malcolm for who he is? Hmm. Well, I believe Malcolm Merlin is supposed to be a cast regular next season, so obviously he's going to have a significant role. Will I don't know if will the relationship with Thea improve? I don't think improve is the right word. Um, Obviously, they're taking Thea down a darker path now. Um, Maybe she will come to see things more from his perspective. If she wants to turn to the bad guy's side eventually, I think they've still got a ways to go to develop her to that extent. But I think they could come to be on the same page about a lot of things. I don't think they'll ever have a great relationship. But I doubt Thea will ever accept Malcolm Merlin, but I think she will start to come around to his way of thinking. It's the best answer I've got. Aubrey James, do you think Lady Shiva in season 3? I'm really showing my lack of knowledge of the DC comics right now. I think Lady Shiva is supposed to be an assassin of some kind. Maybe. If she is an assassin, then I guess, yeah. They're not shy about adding characters from the comics, so I could see that happening. Lucky STR8. In the comics, Malcolm impersonates Green Arrow and makes him a marked man. Was that a possibility given the Thea situation? I could see that happening, yeah. I think, well, if there's one guy who could possibly impersonate Oliver, it would be him. So that could be a big plot point. That's a good idea. Yeah, I mean, it's all just speculation right now, but all right, I may have missed some of these because they were out of order at first. Lucky STR8 again. Did the season finale feel like the ending to The Dark Knight Rises, or was that just me? No, I did get Dark Knight Rises vibes from that. Yeah, there were similarities, like with the city under siege, and the police, and the hero all banding together to stop this huge threat. Yeah. Thankfully they were able to avoid some of the issues that people had with Dark Knight Rises. So we got a lot of the good stuff without some of the unfortunate creative decisions that probably hurt that movie somewhat. Louis V6, yes, Merlin was trained by Ra's al Ghul. In one episode in Season 2, Moira threatened to unleash Ghul on Merlin if the secret of Thea being his daughter ever came out. Okay, cool. So I was right about that. All right. I should have remembered that detail, actually. Yeah, it goes back to what I was saying earlier, how I have trouble remembering individual episodes, because I think they could stand to have a little bit more variety. Because a lot of these episodes tend to run together to me for some reason. Yeah. Okay. But Ra's al Ghul, that would be a really cool guest star, wouldn't it? I hope they do him at some point. Ermac2988, do you see Green Lantern appearing in Arrow? Honestly, I hope not. I'm thinking about the Green Arrow, the Green Lantern movie right now. It's just, I think they're going for like the darker, grittier Dark Knight-esque vibe with Arrow. I don't think Green Lantern would fit stylistically into that universe. I mean, even adding Flash in there, you're probably pushing it. Yeah, I'm thinking how they could possibly make Green Lantern work in that type of environment. I just don't see it happening. No, I really don't think so. It just wouldn't fit in my mind. Ermac2988, do you see Oliver and Felicity becoming an on-screen couple in season 3? In season 3, I'm not sure. I think as of season 2, putting those two together romantically is probably the long-term goal. Because things definitely changed in season 2. I'm thinking, I talked about this already, but I'm thinking between seasons 1 and 2, the producers called an audible and kind of changed things. Because they saw that the chemistry between Oliver and Laurel was just non-existent. But all these scenes with him and Felicity just really popped. And those two were just so much more fun to watch. Their interaction was just a lot better, and it was actually fun to spend time with Felicity, and she's actually an enjoyable character to be around, whereas Laurel is just a fucking chore. So I think that's what happened. I think between seasons 1 and 2, they made the decision to up the romantic subtext and leanings with the Felicity character, and kind of send Laurel off on her own separate stuff. And you can see this, and a lot of it is implied, but they were definitely playing that up a lot more. For starters, Felicity got a sexier wardrobe. You know, they stopped dressing her like a computer geek. And they gave her, skirts, and they made her more appealing to look at, less nerdy and just a lot hotter. And I guess there was a little bit of that in season 1, like the episode with the Dodger. I think it was when she got all gussied up. When they were trying to lure that guy in, he sees her in the dress, it's like, holy shit, she cleans up nice. So I guess there was a little bit of that in the first season, but they definitely ramped it up in season 2. So I think they accelerated that because the Laurel thing just wasn't working. I think the eventual plan is to get Oliver and Felicity together romantically. I don't know if it'll happen in season 3. Although, at the rate it's going, I think they will have to address that. Or, if not get them together, then do something to delay it. Because, those two were eye-fucking the shit out of each other for most of season 2, so it's going to be hard to delay that for too long. And with the way season 2 ended, with them having that conversation live, when you told me you loved me to fake out Slade, you were pretty convincing. It's like, yeah, we both were. And then they're just staring at each other like they were doing for most of the season. It's like, well, how much longer can they possibly delay this? Well, but if you get them together too soon, it's like, well, then where do you go after that? It'll happen eventually. I don't know if it'll happen in season 2. My guess is there will be some kind of falling out to probably delay it for a while. But, yeah, I do think that's the ultimate goal. This Olicity thing. Yeah. I think that's where they're headed. Let's see here. Aubrey James. Ra's al Ghul to kill Thea and Malcolm in Season 3. I can see that. I think it would probably make more sense to have Thea, if they were going to kill Thea, which I think there's a good chance of. I think it would probably make more sense to have her, sorry, be killed as a result of what Malcolm is trying to do. Fuck. Have her get killed as a result of what Malcolm is trying to do. To give Oliver one more thing to blame himself for. Because he blamed himself for Tommy's death. And his mother's death when Slade killed her. So I think that's part of Oliver's character, that he blames himself for all this stuff. So there's got to be a way that if Thea dies, that Oliver would blame himself again. I don't know if you could do that if Ra's al Ghul kills her. But I guess it would depend on how they do it. I guess they'd have some work to do to connect the dots with those two. I guess maybe Malcolm got his training from Ra's al Ghul. That's possible. I kind of like Ra's al Ghul to be like the kind of puppet master in the background for the time being. If they're going to bring him in, I'd like that to be maybe save that for, if not the end of the season 3, then maybe have him be like the big bad of Season 4 or something. I like them to build that up a little more. Lucky STR8. Is Argus a play on Cadmus from the Justice League Unlimited show? Possibly. I'm sure there's a comics reference I'm not getting here. I haven't seen the Justice League cartoon in so long. I think maybe just because it involves Amanda Waller. No, I think there are enough differences there that you can't really make too much of a comparison. I don't think the Suicide Squad was in the Justice League Unlimited show. Might be where they got the idea, at least. Unless this is something that happened in the comics first, which again, I don't know. Matt Stone, no one should ever think of the Green Lantern movie. Yeah, probably. Honestly, I didn't think the Green Lantern movie was terrible, but Green Lantern as a character can so easily just become like straight up goofy if you don't have like a really good idea of how to do it and how to keep it grounded in reality. And I think when they had him like using creating like a whole like a race car on a track or something to stop whatever it was that he was trying to stop. And when Green Lantern first comes out as like the Green Lantern, it was like, well, this is just silly. When he can. Yeah. Yeah. I didn't think the Green Lantern movie was the worst thing ever, but yeah, it didn't work. All right. Well, enough about that thing. Let's see. Okay. These damn comments. Oh, out of order, damn it. Albert James, could Oliver's kid be Artemis? Yeah, possibly. Again, we don't know if the Oliver's kid is a boy or a girl. But again, it's like it's like a Damian Wayne situation. The kid would be 7 or 8 at the oldest, and even that's probably pushing it. So, anyone hoping that kid will put on a costume and start fighting crime, I think that's if that even happens, that's probably something that wouldn't happen until like probably the end of the season. I think of the series at least, because I mean, it's just that's not the kind of thing you could do on a TV show. Not for a show that tries to lean towards realism like this one does. Lucky STR8. In that one episode, did you catch the Joel Schumacher Batman and Robin reference with the McGregor syndrome line? I did. Oh, that really threw me for a second. I was like, wasn't that the disease that Alfred had in Batman and Robin? Why would they put that in there? It's like the writers were fucking with us on that one. Matt Stone. Oh God, don't make Olicity a thing. Really? You really don't want those two together? I firmly disagree with you on that one, Matt Stone. I think those two are a lot of fun together. And personally, I think there's more chemistry between Oliver and Felicity than any of the other than him and any of the other female cast members on the show. Him and Sarah was cool. I did like Helena a lot. No, Oliver and Felicity, that just works to me. I like that a lot. I do not agree with you on that one. I'm sorry. Louis V6. Do you think the creators of Arrow are doing an exceptional job by incorporating a backstory that serves as the circumstances that led Oliver to becoming Green Arrow? Yes, I do. Went over this before. I think that's one of the strongest points of the show. Is this backstory that they obviously had planned out well in advance. At least 2 seasons in advance. Because seeing how that all tied together and how many teases they threw in early on and how that all led up to the season 2 finale, yeah, that was some really impressive storytelling and really tight job by the writers there. I was very impressed with that. I think that's probably definitely one of the stronger points of the show. And with all this stuff tying in with Amanda Waller, I mean, they probably planned it out even further than that. My guess is they had at least a rough idea of what he was doing for the entire 5 years he was gone. And if they're covering it year by year, then wouldn't surprise me if they have like a 5-season arc planned for this show. Which, I can only imagine what they'd be doing for season 5. I hope they get there. So I'm really curious to see what happens with that. Lucky STR8. With the rise of the popularity of the show, do you see it getting its own animated series? With the same continuity of the show? Like the same characters, just in animated form? Uh, I don't think so. Um, I think it's more likely that they might change something in the comics to better reflect what's going on in the show, or it might get its own spin-off comic series. I think they already have one though, don't they? Um, I know they're continuing Smallville with like Smallville season whatever in comic form. I can see them doing something like that with Arrow. Uh, I know there is an Arrow comic. It's like covering stuff that wasn't covered in the show. I think I saw one of those. But an animated series? I don't know. Possibly. I don't think it would be I'm sure it wouldn't be the same continuity as the show. Might have the same characters in it, just for familiarity, because I mean these characters are popular, I guess. But no, if they were to do an animated series at some point, I think they probably want to do their own thing with it. Matt Stone. With the way the flashbacks coincide with the current events, does Arrow remind you of Dexter? That's a comparison I keep going back to. Maybe early Dexter. I think they had a lot of flashbacks to him, to Dexter's childhood in like the first season. Yeah, yeah, I guess there are similarities there. They didn't really think of comparing it to Dexter of all things, but yeah, I could see that. I think the storytelling device in this show is different from with Dexter, because I think there are a lot more parallels drawn between his time on the island and what happens now. With Dexter, it was just like explaining things about his origin, and then they kind of moved on from that. But here it's like I think it's an ongoing thing that they do with this show. I don't see that going away anytime soon. But yeah, I can see. Yeah, there are some similarities. Excuse me. Aubrey James, could Diggle be Jon Stewart? I don't think so. If he were, why not just call him Jon Stewart? Just because he's a black dude who was in the military, and I guess I can sort of see why people might think that, but no, I mean, if he was going to be Jon Stewart, I think they just call him Jon Stewart. Why change his name? It's like with I don't really understand it. It's like with Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., how some people think that Skye is going to become Ms. Marvel. It's like, well, wouldn't they just call her Carol Danvers if that was the case? I guess she could choose a new name, because her name at the orphanage was Mary Sue Poots. So, okay, I'm gonna change my name to Skye. That's a cooler name. So maybe if she doesn't like Skye, she can change her name again to Carol Danvers. Well, wouldn't they just put Carol Danvers in there anyway? Because I think they want to add Carol Danvers to the Marvel Cinematic Universe at some point. But no, Skye has a totally different origin. It's a different character. I don't really see that. It's the same situation. I think if Diggle was Jon Stewart, I think they'd just call him Jon Stewart. Lucky STR8. I know you're not a fan of the Disney animated heroes, but why do they seem to handle their shows better than Cartoon Network? Disney animated heroes? Like Young Justice, Beware the Batman, and Green Lantern. Not really. Elaborate. I'm not sure what you're asking here. I thought Young Justice was great. Beware the Batman, I'm not really into. I didn't see the Green Lantern show. Disney animated heroes, which ones are you talking about? Not really sure. Just elaborate, please. Aubrey James, did you feel a little disappointed with Slade versus Oliver? No. No, I thought that was built up to very well. Maybe the one part that wasn't as strong as it probably could have been was the Shadow. What was Shadow's involvement? We only had like some tiny hints that Slade had feelings for her, and then she was gone, and then suddenly she becomes his motivation for becoming like a megalomaniac, determined to take out his ultimate vengeance on Oliver, no matter the cost. And it's like, well, it felt like we should have had more to establish that connection between Slade and Shadow before she was killed off. Because it kind of felt like that wasn't really earned. And yeah, I know it was the Mirakuru making Slade nuts, but I didn't really buy his motivation for doing what he did. So I felt like that whole thing was kind of underdeveloped. But otherwise, I thought Slade versus Oliver was that whole rivalry was built up to very well. It's just the Shadow factor kind of took away from it a little bit. Okay. All right, did I miss any of these? The Save Me one. Who plays Green Arrow better, Stephen Amell or Justin Hartley? Stephen Amell, totally. We're going back to a fucking Smallville comparison. I didn't think Justin Hartley was bad, but again, and the show around him was just not nearly as good as this was. It was a totally different portrayal. Again, you're dealing with Smallville, which was kind of dumbed down for kids, and was not nearly as dark or gritty or realistic or a lot of things like Arrow is. I guess what Justin Hartley did fit with the Smallville universe, but no, I much prefer Stephen Amell. I think it's a deeper portrayal, a better portrayal, much less kid-friendly portrayal, a much more mature portrayal of the Green Arrow mythos, I guess. I mean, Well, for future reference, if we're comparing anything on Smallville to anything on Arrow, pretty much Arrow is going to win every time. The one thing I would change about Stephen Amell's portrayal, there are moments when I feel like he's a little too stoic. I would like to see him kind of break down and emote a little bit more. There was this scene. It was either in the season 2 finale or right before it, when the city's fallen apart and they've lost the Mirakuru cure. He's like, "I failed this city. I let everybody down." And Felicity is trying to, like, you honor the dead by fighting, and you're not done fighting. And she's kind of getting really emotional. He's just sort of standing there. I would have liked to see him get, a little more broken up about that. And it seems like he's too closed off. And I would like to see him kind of open up and just. There are times when showing a little emotion would help him. You don't have to be stoic all the time. In those rare moments when he does emote, I think it helps the scenes that he's in immensely. I wouldn't say he's wooden. I want to see him just express feelings more, Otherwise, I like Stephen Amell a lot. I think he does a fine job. Damn it, did I lose my place here now? And Louis V6. Do you think Roy Harper will play an even bigger role in Season 3? I thought Colton Haynes did an excellent job creating chemistry with the rest of the cast. Yeah. Yeah, I think so. Correct me if I'm wrong, I think he was still had a reoccurring guest star status in Season 2, but I'm pretty sure he's a regular in Season 3, so I think they're probably expanding on his role. I think he's certainly on that Red Arrow / Arsenal path, so I would expect him to be incorporated more into Team Arrow now, because for the most part it was still just Oliver, Diggle, and Felicity. So I expect he'll be a bigger part of that whole group dynamic next season, and that's cool. I like Roy. Wasn't too big on him at first, but he won me over pretty quickly. I like Colton Haynes. Yeah. He's good. He fit in well with the rest of the cast in the same way that Laurel does not. Now, I know I keep going back to that. I'm sorry. I really hate that woman. Ermac 2988. Black Canary is Dinah Drake in the New 52, and she and Green Arrow didn't even meet up yet, to my knowledge. Okay. All right, well, I didn't know that. I know in the previous continuity they got married and then got divorced, I think. So if they haven't even met in the New 52, that's good. So hopefully they won't feel the need to follow the comics, because the comics are different now. Wait. This is part of the reason why I can't get into DC Comics. They keep rebooting the universe. It's like, well, after a while, it's like, well, how the hell do you know what happened in which universe anymore? So confusing. Especially with this New 52 stuff. It's like even the writers don't know. I watched some of Linkara's videos. It's like, well, they keep retroactively retconning all this other stuff. It's like, well, were there Teen Titans? Was there a Teen Titans group before the New 52 started? Well, at first there was, but then there wasn't. So they keep changing things. It's like even DC Comics themselves don't know what happened and what didn't. The whole thing is a freaking maze. Gore492. Who is currently your favorite character on Arrow? Favorite character is Felicity, Queen of the Freudian Slip. And double entendres and stuff. She's funny. I think a show that gets as dark as this needs some kind of levity and comic relief, and she fills that role very nicely. I like Felicity a lot. Yeah. Plus, I tend to go for. I love nerdy girls. I think it sounds silly, but I think the glasses are a big part of it. Those glasses are just so damn cute. The show needs more Felicity. She's delightful. Sarah next season, we did that one. They should. I'm sorry, turns out I answered these things all out of order, and now the thing is reordered now, so I'm just looking to see if I missed anything. Matt Stone, Diggle was actually added to the New 52 comics based off his performance in the show. Oh, okay, cool. All right, so there's some interconnectivity there. I believe the same thing happened with the Chloe character from Smallville. I think they turned her into a character in the comics. Don't quote me on that. I'm not sure if that's right. But, yeah, if they made him a character in the comics, cool. Wonder if they'll do that with Felicity. I think in the previous continuity she was like a Firestorm character, wasn't she? I don't know if she is. I don't know if she is in the New 52. Yeah. Who knows? Lucky STR8. I got a vibe from Power Rangers RPM because it takes place in the present and everything else is told in flashbacks. I recommend it because it's a real mature take. Really? Okay. All right. Yeah, what? I think I'll wait for Linkara to cover that in History of Power Rangers, but I'll take your word for it. Lucky STR8. I meant that they actually take time to tell their stories while Cartoon Network cancels their shows before a story really gets going, i.e. Ultimate Spider-Man. I heard he was joining the Avengers in the show. Okay. Yeah, Cartoon Network has canceled a lot of great shows. And I really did love Young Justice a lot. Ah, man. Oh, and yeah, the Ultimate Spider-Man cartoon. Ugh. I maintain that show sucks. Especially compared to the previous Spectacular Spider-Man cartoon, which was awesome. Yeah, I gave the Ultimate Spider-Man cartoon every chance to win me over. I just couldn't get into it. That's just not the take on Spider-Man that I'm looking for. And I think it's still going on too, which I don't know. I'm not watching it anymore, but ugh. The Save Me one. Could you see Barbara Gordon and Huntress showing up at some point? Well, Huntress is already there. Do you mean a different version of the Huntress? Haven't there been like 3 different Huntresses? Huntresses. I don't know. It's again my lack of knowledge of DC Comics. Um, I guess this version is Helena Bertinelli. Wasn't there an? I don't know. I imagine they'll stick with Helena Bertinelli as the Huntress. Barbara Gordon, I possibly. I mean, they had the Harley Quinn cameo, so I assume Joker is in this universe somewhere. And if he is, then maybe the Batman characters are in there too. Uh, I guess. I think it's unlikely. Maybe if they wanted to do a Birds of Prey thing with Huntress and Black Canary and teaming up, and then throw Barbara Gordon in there. I think it's unlikely, but I guess they could possibly do something like that. Of course, that's the kind of thing where they'll probably demand its own spin-off, really. Um, Aubrey James, I hate Laurel. If she becomes Black Canary, I quit the show. That would be stupid. Yes. Thank you. Laurel sucks. This character is intolerable. I hate her. Just want her to go away. Don't make her Black Canary. Sarah is awesome as Sarah is great as Black Canary. Just keep Sarah. Just get rid of Laurel. God, fuck, I hate her. Louis V6. What are some distinctions we can draw between Arrow and Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. in terms of story and character development? Are both shows unique in their own way to the point where they can't be subjected to comparisons and contrast? Wow, good question. I don't think comparisons are really fair. It's apples and oranges, really. I mean, they're very different. I think Arrow is obviously a darker take, more realistic take, more rooted in I guess a more down to earth portrayal. Whereas with Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., you got this whole thing. You got the show kind of fitting into the same tone as the cinematic universe, which they tend to like their movies, and now this show too be kind of in the same area tone wise. They did some distinctions. I think they have different storytelling engines. I think Arrow is a lot more linear, where I think we're seeing this now. Clearly, they're going somewhere with these flashbacks, and it seems to all be one big story. Whereas with Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., I think they kind of go in like several directions at once. They've got the Hydra stuff. There's a subplot with aliens, which may or may not lead to the Inhumans. And I think the biggest distinction is that Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. is kind of working within a much bigger universe, so they can kind of how do I say this? They can kind of go to a lot of different areas. You know, they can do stuff with like magic and Asgardians and aliens and the Hydra terrorist plots and stuff. Whereas Arrow is kind of encapsulated. It's kind of on its own. Telling one bigger story as opposed to all the different stuff that S.H.I.E.L.D. does. I'm not saying one's better than the other, but it's just two different ways of telling a story. Again, I personally prefer Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. I think I like the variety better, and I connect with more of the characters, whereas I don't. Whereas with Arrow, that's a little harder. Yeah, so I think you can compare them just because they're quote unquote comic book shows, but I don't think it's really fair because they are very different. Both good shows though. Louis V6, did the addition of Diggle and Felicity help shape Oliver's principles? Season 2 was a testament to how much of a cohesive unit they have become. We can even dispute that they're more of a family now. Yeah, I do think so. In the beginning of the show, Oliver was very set on just isolating himself and doing everything by himself. And I think they alluded to this in season 2, right after Barry Allen showed up. Oliver said that in the beginning he was going to do everything himself and didn't want to include anybody else. And now he's come to rely on Diggle and Felicity very much. They have become. I think that was one of the big differences in season 2 is that now he's got this team that he relies on to help him with stuff. And season 1 was more about that all getting set up and them coming together and working out their initial differences and whatnot. And they are more of a family now. I think that's one of the through lines of the show is sort of eliminating, well, not eliminating, but sort of taking away Oliver's original family, Moira, Thea, I guess to a lesser extent Walter, and kind of removing them either by killing them or turning them evil, and then kind of moving him into this new family of Team Arrow, of Diggle and Felicity, and I guess now Roy as well. So he kind of loses one family unit and he gains another one. I think that's what they've been. I think that's what they've been doing. So I expect to see more stuff to that effect in season 3. But yeah, that's a good observation. Let's see. Newest first. Okay. All right. Okay. I think I've answered everything. All right, I'll give it another minute or two, and if that's the end of it, then I guess we'll call it a night here, unless we get some more questions here. So check this real quick. FYI, I'm working, I think, either Saturday or Sunday, or Friday and Sunday, so the video is going to be late. Don't expect that one until like Monday at the earliest. Okay. Okay, now, it's after 11. You know what, let me just check this real fast. So I have to answer these things out of order. If that's it, To sleep. Matt Stone, I'm fine with the Felicity Oliver pairing, just not the word olicity. Yeah. That is getting kind of annoying how when two characters are put together, they always have to have some kind of celebrity mashup name. That is kind of an annoying trend. I hope that goes away at some point. Oh, here we go. Okay. Do you think killing off one of the main Trinity, is that Trinity, would hurt the show? So by that I assume you mean Oliver, Diggle, or Felicity. That would hurt the show. I would hope those three at least are safe from the chopping block. And also Roy too, because you can't really kill him. Because unless you really wanted to deviate from the comics. I mean, I guess he's got to become Arsenal / Red Arrow at some point, but yeah, that would hurt the show. I mean, those three, Oliver, Diggle, Felicity, that's the core of the show right there. I think you got to keep those three safe. Yeah, Dig, Felicity, and Oliver. Yeah, okay. Yeah. Yeah, I think those three. That's basically what makes the show work. So yeah, I think you need to kind of need to keep those three characters around. Matt Stone, you mentioned in the last live stream that you were considering a reaction show for Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Any chance you would do one for Arrow when Season 3 starts? Yeah, possibly. I don't know if I'd have the time to do it. Again, this is one of those things that could be better covered in a podcast, I guess, which I'm still debating, whether or not I should do. There's just a lot of stuff I'd have to figure out for that. I guess I could. I'm just not sure when I'd be able to do it. This is something else to consider. Lucky STR8, not relevant, but have you seen Godzilla yet? Yes, I did. Had a few issues with it. It's not really the time or the place to talk about that. I guess I could do another live stream talking about like summer movies and stuff. I liked it. I just didn't love it. Had some. There were some pacing issues, and no, let's not get into that. Okay. I think we're kind of winding down here, so if that's all for questions, I think we can call it a night. Let's just see if there's anything else we need to cover. Louis V6. I too hate Laurel. Yay. I think she brings nothing but counterproductiveness to the show. I never imagined myself liking Sarah more. Yeah, weird how that worked out, isn't it? I really don't see what the purpose is in keeping Laurel around. Maybe in the first season I could understand it because there was a story there, with her It's just nothing about this character works. I'm sorry. It's just I think it's a combination of the actress not really fitting with the rest of the cast, and just the storylines they give her just devolving into this melodrama, and just it's like she thinks she's on a different show from the rest of the cast. Nothing about her works or fits in with the rest of the show and what they're doing. I'm sorry, I keep repeating myself. I sound like a broken record here. I just can't stand her. And this whole subplot in season 2 of her getting a drinking problem and I guess a drug problem and losing her job and hitting rock bottom. It's like, well, why are we spending all this time on this stuff? The only useful thing that accomplished was bringing Sarah back. Sarah is just so much more likable. Why can't we spend more? Why couldn't we spend more time with her and forget about what Laurel was doing? And Sarah has such a more interesting backstory to explore with the League of Assassins stuff. I wanted to know more about her. Like, could we spend more time with her? Ugh. I assume the writers had a plan for what they were doing with Laurel, but man, if there was ever a time to call an audible, this is it. This woman is, yeah. I don't see what this woman adds to the show at all. She just doesn't work. And I think that's about it. It's a good place to stop. Yeah. Okay. I guess that'll be it. Thanks everyone for joining me. I don't know when the next live stream will be. I think I'll probably do one for Game of Thrones Season 4 once the season is over, and I think 2 weeks. So that'll probably be coming up soon. If you got any other ideas or suggestions for live stream topics, please let me know. You hit me up on Twitter or something. And yeah, that's it. So thanks for joining me, and sorry about the technical difficulties before. Again, my laptop is kind of screwy these days. I can get this thing fixed at some point, but then I'd be without a computer, which I can't be, and guess I gotta get another one or something. But anyway, thanks everyone for joining me, and I will talk to you soon. When I know when the next live stream will happen, I'll put up an announcement or something, as I've been doing recently. But yeah, I'm babbling now, so that'll be it. Thanks for joining me, and I'll talk to you next in the Impact video. All right. Good night. Later.